What's good everybody, it's Performage and today guys, I'm coming with a brand new video. This time guys, I'm going to be grading every single hit on the ban list, giving my personal opinion, and hopefully you guys can share your opinion down below as well guys. I want to really diversify my channel. I want it to be more discussion, combos, and just anything else that you guys kind of want to see. Just let me know down below, and of course guys, like, comment, subscribe. Without further ado guys, let's start off with the video. So the first hit we're going to be discussing is going to be Performage Plushfire. Now Plushfire, again, it was really broken back in kind of like the Performer Pal days, the Pepe Pals, whatever you guys want to call it. It was a very powerful card. It did get the errata. In my opinion, this card can definitely come back, especially because we have no consistent ways of popping it in the form of like a Link Monster, Electromite. If Electromite comes back, I think it will be good. I think just errata cards in general are fine, but I think it's like the bare minimum. Like, okay, you know what? This card is no longer good in the metagame, as well as it's kind of got the errata where it's not as broken anymore. So in my opinion, I think it's just kind of like a bare minimum thing. So I'll probably give it like a C plus to like a C minus. I'll probably give it like a C. I'd give it like a C, honestly. Like it's a card that needed to come back just because of what it did, but whatever. Armageddon Knight, I think this card is one of those cards that's like, yeah, it can technically come back, but I feel like it just takes any kind of deck that really can utilize it more and break it, because like if it didn't do anything at 1, like why are people gonna play it at 3? And the reason for it is like it's easier to open, so like normal Armageddon Knight, dump Mali, like maybe there's something there if I'm not missing it. But I think just off first glance, I'm gonna put it to like a C as well. I think it's more of like, okay, we kind of needed it to get hit, so that's why I would decide to put it there. The next card is going to be Sangen Summoning. Now, I think Sangen Summoning is like an A plus and A minus hit. Ideally, this card would get banned because I think field spells that don't let your opponent interact are just crazy. On top of this card being a consistency card as well, on top of this card being a searchable card as well, which kind of makes it really broken, like all in one. One of the main things as well now that they need to decide is like the Hydra needs to search Sangen Kaiman or Sangen Summoning, and for the most part, you're not going to be getting Sangen Summoning unless you already have Kaiman. So kind of the plays are a lot more predictable now. So like the Hydra, hitting the Hydra is a lot more probable as well, because before, if they just activated field spell, then they have Hydra on the board, your hand traps apart from like Imperm are like really bad now. So you're kind of like, okay, now like what do I kind of disrupt? But now there are other ways of kind of getting into it. So I think that putting Sangen Summoning 2-1 is a really good hit. It hurts the consistency of the deck, hurts just kind of like the quote-unquote FTK potential of the deck. So I do think that Sangen Summoning is really good. Moving on to another card that a lot of people didn't really see getting hit was going to be Brand Infusion. Now I think a lot of people initially thought the hit to Branded was going to be Sanctifier, Gimmick Puppet, Idol, something like that kind of prevented our opponent from puppet locking. But I think putting Brand Infusion to 1 is actually a pretty good hit. So 1, it prevents the splashable engine. So I think it was Branded Chimera, Branded Illusion, I think that was the same thing, Branded Voiceless. So it prevents them from splashing it. But on top of that as well, it kind of ruins the consistency of the deck. Of course, I'm sure that the deck has its ways of kind of just going balls to the wall, full ultra plus ultra, whatever. But I think just having one Brand Infusion just really kind of hinders the lines and makes them kind of think. I'll put Brand Infusion to a B. I think that there were better hits that they could have done to Branded to prevent it from being really good. But I mean, at the end of the day, like Konami wants to hit these decks but still make them playable, because there's a bunch of other players that are going to get pissed off. So I think this is fine, honestly. I think Sanctifier was the one that a lot of people prepared for, but I think Brand Infusion is perfectly fine. I think Kirin is going to fall into like the C plus C minus hit in my opinion. I think it's just like one of those hits that like, yeah, why not? Like we kind of needed it, and I guess it's kind of good. Actually, I'll put this card here to D. So I feel like this card should have been off the list, but it doesn't really have implications to any deck, honestly. Like in my opinion, that's the way I see it. But I think Kirin will like at least kind of be played in Majespecter. I think Denglong is like a D, because it's like this card shouldn't have even been on the list anymore, especially with kind of Needle Fiber and all the other like Denglong turbo decks kind of getting hit. I think again, Lacrima is like it's like an A plus. Lacrima is the A plus of this ban list. The reason for it is like this card did way too much, right? It made Fiendsmith engine just splashable in every single deck, made Caesar access to everybody way too easy. It also made kind of punishing combo lines a lot harder as well, and it also made it so that you could splash this card into any deck and then you would have full combo or full extender. So this card was a starter and an extender, kind of how Snake Eye would do it, right? So now Fiendsmith engine is not a starter in the Snake Eye deck, it's just an extender as in getting the bodies on board. On top of that as well, losing Lacrima means that them getting to sequence is more of a direct kind of line. So they get to sequence, then they use sequence, shuffle back to 3 into Desiree. So now interrupting the sequence is all the more better as well. Into that, also another thing is the ban of the burn kind of damage, which is kind of crazy. Like why are some of the best decks in the game also have win cons that are just in the engine? So that was another complaint that a lot of people had, where it's like, yeah, you know, Long Yuan Burn was so broken, so let's just put it into a monster that's not only an extender, that's in the extra deck, that can kind of bridge everything together, right? So I think Lacrima is the greatest hit on the ban list. It's definitely like an A plus, if not an S, but we're just gonna do like traditional rankings here, so I'm just gonna go ahead and give it to the A plus category. So Lacrima is the best hit, so again, it's an A plus, because again, TLDR, like the engines can't run it. I think Eva is like a interesting hit, honestly, like or to bring back, sorry. I think them putting it to 1 is kind of them being like, okay, we acknowledge this card is broken, but we will go ahead and see what it can do. I think Eva is really good because, you know, Eva Orange Light, so it works very well in Drytron, it works very well in Voiceless and Melodious. I think it's got some potential there for sure. I'm not too well versed in the Melodious line, so like I don't know if there's a way to do it, but I know my little brother was spamming Eva with kind of Drytron and things of that nature. So if that's the kind of case, I would definitely have to say that Eva is like a C. I would say it's probably on the better end of a C plus, maybe lower end of a B, honestly. I'm not too sure what it does. Lunalight Tiger, I believe this card got semi-limited. I think Lunalight Tiger is in his peak form, again, it's an S plus card. I think now it's probably like a C to a B. I think there is some sort of room for us to mess around with like Lunalight Raziel, where it's like generic 4s, and if that's the case, then wow, this card gets absolutely phenomenal, especially because the Raziel cards do not detach as cost. So I think it makes Yellow Martin a lot better as well. I'm pretty sure, again, don't quote me on it, but I think Lunalight Tiger, honestly, personally, I would say it's like a B minus, right? I think that this enables a lot more rank 4 engines to kind of be seen in the metagame, especially with Raziel coming out. Again, Beatrice, this card's got to go into AS, right? S or A, you know what I mean? It's too much. Even if they lost Lacrima, I'm sure there would have been some sort of other play that like you could still get into the Beatrice to dump and things of that nature. So again, we wanted this card. We didn't know that this card was gonna get hit, but the fact that we got both is really nice, honestly. Beatrice makes it so Angel of Blue Tears isn't just FTK anymore. It also makes it so like you can't just play random garbage in your deck. In my opinion, Beatrice should have been hit. Yes, it sucks to the Burning Abyss players and the Chairman players, but I mean, bro, like send any card from deck to the graveyard is wild. Especially we saw the showcase on like the U-Bell FTK, where like the guy like used both effects and he went like transaction rollbacks and then Earthbound card to like nuke the board. So that, bro, when stuff like that happens, it's just crazy. Like Beatrice, I'm put above Sangen Summoning. I still think Lacrima's the best hit, but I would say like an A plus, an A, and an A as well. It can be a D, like I said before. Zero implications to the metagame, just to get it off the list. I'm gonna put Skill Drain to a B plus, honestly. I really like the hit. I want to put it to A, but if they banned it, I would have liked it a lot more. I just don't like how Konami's doing the thing where they like put floodgates to 1 because they're acknowledging it's broken, but they're like it's fine at 1, which kind of doesn't really resonate with me or make any sense. I feel like these floodgates should definitely be banned completely, honestly. Like what's the point of putting these cards to 1, you know what I mean? But I think it's probably on the higher end of a B plus. I feel like it needs to be banned. So the hit to 1, it's like good, but again, it's not the best, right? And then we also have Apollusa, which is, again, it's got to be up there, right? Like this is one of the craziest cards ever created. Like people are complaining about Abyss Dweller being like, man, people just make this card and prevent me from playing, and for some reason Abyss Dweller is not banned. I mean, it'll eventually get banned, I'm sure, but Apollusa is one of those cards that's like, it's generic, non-restrictive, insulates you from hand traps, and then you can go ahead and continue playing. And especially now hitting this card prevents like Snake Eyes and all sorts of other like combo monster mash decks, things of that nature, kind of prevent having infinite negates or playing through Nibiru. So again, with Apollusa banned, it also, what the hell is going on? It also makes Nibiru a lot better of a card as well. So again, I would definitely put Apollusa in the A tier. Honestly, now that I'm thinking about it, I think man, I really want to put Skill Drain to A, but like a B plus is good because they should have banned it. That's what I'm saying, right? Like the A hits are like, okay, this is really good, there's no buts. B's are like, it's good but, so B for but. C is like whatever, but I can't see it, and D is just like completely bad. But Game Publisher Strings, I'm gonna go ahead and put this card as a B as well. I think people knew that this card was gonna get hit, and I'm pretty sure the FTK around it, people were already prepared for it. I think another card that is also in the B category is going to be Dark Strings. So people did definitely had to kind of figure out what the FTK lines were going to be. I'm pretty sure now with these two cards hit 2-1, I'm pretty sure that they can still FTK, but they need to see the field spell or a specific 2-card combo. So once that's the case, yes, it's probably still a good FTK, but just not as good as before, where we were seeing it at YCSs and people just openly causing complaints and problems and things of that nature. Moving on, guys, we will be talking about the Red Rose Dragon. Red Rose, I'm gonna go ahead and put into like a C as well, probably high end of C. The reason for that is I think Synchro engines and adventure engines can use this. I just don't know to what capacity, right? Because now our 7s are very limited, and we also have very bad 10s in terms of negates. So I think that it kind of limits it. I can see people splashing this into like another adventure, synchron. I can see it in runic as well, because it just goes into like a free 7 or a free 5. It's just that our monsters are kind of limited in that regard, but I think it is pretty good. Again, it just remains to be seen. Next are the dragon rules. I think blaster going to 2s like doesn't really do anything. I know people were like, oh my god, it's so good in Tenpai, but it's like, I don't think these are the replacement cards for Sangen Summoning and Prosperity, you know what I mean? So I think that's whatever. I'm not gonna say it's like complete garbage, but I'm just gonna say it has no implications currently. I think title is probably gonna be like a C to a B. I would say it's like a B minus. Specifically because right now it has no implications, but post Rota, when all the water decks come out, title is going to be really good in those decks, especially having at 2. Even having it at 1 was like already nasty for that deck. Now having it at 2 is going to be really crazy. And let blaster also be like redox, and I think who the hell's the stupid win with Tempest? Those cards are like C's and D's, right? Like it's like very niche applications, whereas title is like it'll see play everywhere else. Ancient Fairy, again, it's a D because like you're not gonna be playing 3 of this card in your deck. Now Thunder Dragon Colosus, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say it was like a B plus hit, honestly. I think that this card is really good. I think that it's not too broken because it loses to a lot of the other decks, kind of like it's not like Arise Heart, where like Arise Heart was like just so problematic. I think Colossus is also good in its own respect. I think putting it to 2 kind of enables a lot more Thunder Dragon engines and pure Thunder Dragon lists to kind of run around in the format and be a little annoying. I can definitely see it be a lot better. Like, I know people are going to complain because this card's broken, but I would definitely put it on the higher end of the B side. Time Seal, again, it's going to be D. Like, what are you going to do? Like, loot me? Like, Labyrinth, I guess, transaction rollback, whatever, but I mean, it's whatever. Calamity, I'm going to put in the A tier as well, because now Centurion cards can no longer kind of ban us or hit us or kind of lock us out of the deck and force them to kind of play a different style of game, especially with the new Centurion cards and Whitewoods. Honestly, those White Force cards are really good for the Centurion list. I'm not going to lie. Like, it's very impressive what they do for the list. So I feel like cutting the Calamity cuts the crutch out, and it makes them kind of have to deck build accordingly. So that's why I really think that Calamity is a great hit. Probably put it, man, like whatever. Snake Eye Ash 2-1. I feel like everyone saw it coming. It's gonna be a B plus hit. It doesn't really hurt the deck too much in my opinion. They still can search it, they just won't hard open it now, right? So I mean, now it's, again, everything is more linear now, but the deck building process definitely will change significantly. Poplar as well. I think Poplar is a really good hit. I think that people don't really see it right now, but once people start testing and things of that nature, you realize your bonfires aren't as good, because like if you ash into the Poplar, you're kind of in a weird spot, or if you hard draw the Poplar, your lines are completely trash. So like I said before, once deck building changes, it gets a lot better. Prosperity is going to go into the A. I would say Prosperity goes into the A minus. It's further on the end of the A minus. The reason for that is this card should have been hit during like Castillo format. People were complaining about it even before then with like Drytron and things of that nature. I feel like Prosperity just one of those cards that like mathematically are just so broken that like you need to have this card like one, similar to like Desires, where like you see all your cards, especially because like, what is it, like when you go second as like your 6th card and you activate Pod Prosperity, you have like an 80% chance or some shit like that to see your like your board breakers. So again, I feel like Prosperity is absolutely crazy. So I mean, if you guys look at the list, there's a lot of A's. These are like S's, honestly, like S is A plus, right? There's a lot of A's, there's a lot of B's, C's and D's. These are like the useless cards, but in my opinion, like we hit a lot of the problematic cards. So that's why it's kind of confusing why like a lot of people are complaining about the format. Yes, I know Azamina kind of makes it so that the decks get a lot better, but now that all these extra deck cards that are quote-unquote crutches are kind of gone in the format, it's going to change deck building. And once deck building evolves, that's when I feel like Yu-Gi-Oh gets the most fun, where you can play like the tech cards, or like, oh yeah, this is a lot better, and it kind of makes other cards a lot better as well. Like I stated before, with like Snake Eye, they're probably gonna have to play Birch. They're probably not gonna be playing the Fiendsmith anymore. They're probably gonna have to play Fire Kings. So now once lists kind of change and evolve, the format gets a lot more fresher and new, and who knows, we don't know what kind of can come up. But anyways, guys, that's a lot of yapping. My name's Hamza. If you guys like the video, comment what you guys want to see next, subscribe, check out my Twitter, guys. My name's Hamza. Like I always say, keep on shining, never end dreams. Peace.